Welcome to Habitly Courses, a production of Manage to Win. Each course is divided into multiple lessons for easy viewing. All are now completely free, so you can watch them on your own or work through them as a team. Please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, and share your favorite lessons with others. Try to find something that helps you be your best. Lesson 2, how to write goals. The previous lesson talked a lot about why everyone should have goals, but we really didn't say much about how to actually write them effectively. Writing goals is really important, and you've got to figure out a method that works best for you on how to write them or define them, and then how to pursue them. Our team did a quick web search, found 27 different ways to write goals. Now, this ranged from Jim Collins's approach, which is BHAG's Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals, to George Duran's SMART Objectives or Goals for Corporations. And of course, there was a lot in between. We are not going to discuss all of these methods. However, there are 4 important aspects of effective goal writing that most of these methodologies have in common. The 4 most important attributes of all goal writing methods are: number 1, meaningful; number 2, clear and measurable; number 3, relevant; and number 4, each goal has a specific deadline. Let's dive into these a little further. First, goals must be meaningful. Ideally, a goal should connect something you find personally fulfilling with what the goal will achieve. For instance, if you care about the environment, then you might want to achieve goals as an employee of Patagonia because they use organic, sustainable materials and donate profits to environmental causes. Second, the goal must be clear and measurable to you and anyone else involved. This avoids misunderstandings and assumptions. For instance, if you have a goal to improve customer satisfaction, it's not measurable. However, if you revise that goal to state, improve our customer satisfaction score to an average of 9.2, then the definition of what qualifies as achieving the goal is clear to everyone. It's simple, it's straightforward. Third, the goal should be relevant. In other words, it's consistent with the priorities of you and or your team. Therefore, completing the goal is the best use of your time. For instance, let's say a salesperson has a goal to close $1 million in new business, or they lose their job. The salesperson may have other responsibilities, such as being on time or dressing professionally. However, I don't care if the salesperson looks great and is always on time if they fail to meet their sales goal. Being relevant means the goal is consistent with your top priorities. Fourth and finally, there must be a firm date to complete each goal. Goals need to be achieved in what I call Goldilocks time. This is not too fast or procrastinated into too long a time frame. Goals must be achieved in a time to make a difference. Therefore, set a specific date for each goal to be fully accomplished. Here are a few more tips on how to write goals. First of all, keep it simple. I'm going to give you the power of 3. I once had a boss who had 17 goals to achieve by year end. The majority of objectives were clear and measurable because he was a sales manager. However, too many goals, so he did not achieve them. Why, you might ask? Well, there's 2 likely problems. Number 1, there's just too many things to do. He was a really nice guy, but his boss gave him too much, and it stretched him too thin. Number 2, the goals were all due at year end instead of incrementally due throughout the year, so it can kind of break up the work. He would have done better if each objective was separated into individual tasks or milestones, each with its own deadline, and the due dates for the 17 goals were spread out throughout the year instead of all jammed at the end. You achieve more when you focus on less. Having 45 goals is impressive, but it's unrealistic. You're not going to succeed. Human beings achieve more when we focus our energy on a small set of objectives. Therefore, we recommend everyone in your organization have 3 major goals at any given time. No more. Less than 3 is fine. Now, well, wait a minute. If I've only got 3, what should be the focus of my goals, you might ask? Professionally, I've found it works best to have 1 major goal in each of the following 3 areas. Financial, so it might be a revenue increase, or you might be limiting costs. Relationships. This involves improving client experience. And by the way, your clients might be other employees in your organization, internal clients. And then development. This might be company culture, learning soft skills, learning hard skills, it has to do with professional development. Depending on your position, your goals may be different, but these three categories work for everybody. Furthermore, each major goal should be broken down into actionable tasks, smaller objectives that you can complete in succession. For example, a customer service goal for July to September might look like this: improve our customer satisfaction score for the third quarter to 9.2. And then the specific metrics that are going to help us get there are: every service ticket has a response from a member of our team within 1 hour of being created. Second item, the little metric here that I'm going to achieve, is consistently answer phone calls by the third ring. And finally, everyone completes the Experience Bookends course in Dave's Charm School by Friday, August 10th. Each goal and supporting task should meet our standards for an effective goal. It should be meaningful, clear and measurable, relevant, and have a deadline. When you keep your list short and concise, then less important tasks fade away and resolve themselves as the most important work gains most of your focus and gets done. Next, I want to talk to you about taking ownership of your goals. Who should write the first draft of your individual goals? You should. Studies prove the person responsible for achieving a goal takes more ownership for results when they think of the goals themselves, discuss them with peers or their boss, and then fully accept the final version. People who have been in a position for less than 6 months may work with their manager to define their goals, or managers may define goals for the open positions with input from others. Either way, individuals take the most ownership to complete goals when they have helped define them and then fully agree with the final version of each goal. And finally, what about team goals, where a group of people are responsible for an objective? Who should write those goals? Team goals can be a great way to galvanize a group of people around a shared objective. A shared goal encourages cooperation, communication, and collaboration among team members. Additionally, the diversity of talent and personalities on a team can be a huge advantage to achieving a goal. One person's strengths may be different from another's, and combining those strengths improve the team's ability to achieve their goals. When it comes to creating team goals, the people on the team should come up with the goals for the team. In this way, just like individuals, they take ownership of the goal, more so than if the boss just passes them down or assigns them. Also, managers should encourage and supervise the creation of team goals to make sure they align with the company's overall objectives. When developing team goals, we recommend the following process. First, share and consider the overarching company goals or the goals of your boss or department head. These act as guidelines for the team goals. Second, ask each team member to consider their responsibilities and the potential of their position. They need to define how their goals contribute to the organization achieving its overarching goals. Third, meet with the team to discuss and develop draft goals. Encourage team members to review them and consider changes. Then meet again in 2 to 5 days to confirm and finalize the team goals. Number 4, send your draft team goals to the boss for review. Schedule a time for the team to meet with the boss to discuss your goals so you get buy-in and support. Number 5, meet with your boss. Discuss your draft goals, edit them if necessary, and finalize them so you're all on the same page. Number 6, agree to a follow-up schedule with your boss for accountability. Don't let him out of the meeting where he's expecting you're going to communicate updates on one schedule and you've got a totally different idea. Get it in writing, get it confirmed. And then 7, plan your team's self-accountability schedule and the first week's tasks. The way you write goals is really important in committing yourself to achieve great things. It takes time and practice, but I hope this lesson has given you a head start. It doesn't really matter which goal writing method you adopt. What is important is that every goal you write is consistent with the 4 attributes I gave you of great goals. Number 1, it's meaningful. Number 2, it's clear and measurable. Number 3, it's relevant. And number 4, it has a deadline. Let me give you one scenario to consider. 2A, the bread salesman. Let's say the person in charge of sales assesses their current revenue growth targets and decides their bread company needs to expand by 150 locations over the next 6 months. This manager then announces the 150 new location goal to the sales team and incentivizes them to sign up new retailers for new shelf space for their specialty breads. What's the potential problems with this goal? Well, first, the sales manager is operating independently. This goal needs to be discussed with the production team to make certain they can support the additional locations with product. The warehousing team who manages the inventory, the delivery team that's going to have to add significant number of locations to their routes, and the accounting team who's going to have to support setting up and providing credit to 150 new accounts. Second, although the sales manager has the authority to define the goal, it would be a much stronger objective if the reasoning behind it had been explained and discussed with the team before laying the goal down as the law. Potential new accounts could even be considered along with realistic timeframes to close them. The discussion of the team increases their commitment to achieve the goal. By the way, the ultimate goal may require more or less than 150 new locations. Here's a few more exercises you can do by yourself or with colleagues to practice writing goals. This first one, 2A, is how to write your own goals. So in this first exercise, I want to encourage everyone to try writing their own goals, and then you can review your goals together and discuss it. Here's some questions you might ask or conversation points. First of all, is everyone comfortable writing your own goals? If not, maybe you need to discuss why and develop a plan to provide mentoring by peers or coaching from your boss. You may want to consider a peer review process for everyone on a team, including the manager or team leader. This approach requires everyone's goals to be reviewed and evaluated by others on the team. Everyone can make encouraging, respectful suggestions for rewording each person's goals to better engage their strengths, connect the goal to their passions, be realistic, and contribute to the team's overall objectives. Next, let's try a different exercise, the power of 3. Remember we talked about that? Now take the goals you defined in the prior exercise, 2A, update them so you have 3 primary goals, no more than 3. Try creating goals related to these 3 areas. First, what's your number 1 financial objective? This might be revenue or cost savings. Number 2, what's your number 1 client experience objective? Might be internal clients, remember, employees that you're serving. And number 3, what is the most important professional development or company culture objective you've got? Third, to wrap this up, I'm calling it exercise 2C, defining goals as a team. We've talked a lot about this, but how about an exercise on it? Assuming you're doing these lessons with peers in your work group, try this one. Here's some additional ways to engage everyone as a team. First of all, has everyone given feedback on each other's goals? Now, if not, when will that take place? It's important. And number 2, how will your team track your goals to encourage one another? And you ought to celebrate success. You can print them out, you can put them on the wall, you can use a local application like Outlook or a shared app online, whatever's your preference, but how are you going to track them? This is the conclusion of lesson 2. In lesson 3, we'll talk more about how to write goals, but first, take the exam for this lesson. Next, I'd like you to consider where your goals are today compared to what we're encouraging you to do with your goals. First of all, does it meet the 4 attributes we discussed? Are your goals meaningful? Are they clear and measurable? Are they relevant to your most important priorities, and do they have deadlines? Next of all, power of 3. Do you have a major financial objective, one that has to do with relationships such as client experience, and one that has to do with culture or professional development? And number 3, If you're pursuing goals as a team, does everybody on the team have input into the goals so it increases their ownership? What I want you to do now, pass the exam, and then continue on to the next lesson. I hope you feel we're making progress. You're gaining a lot of information here, some great stuff to apply in your professional and personal life.